Namaskar. My name is Suresh Kochakal and I'm here today to speak about the industrial scenario in Kerala. Many of you would have heard the recent news that one of the Kerala's largest and the world's second largest garment manufacturer for kids, an apparel wear manufacturer, Kitex, is pulling out from its 3,500 crore expansion plan in Kerala. The company had planned to invest that money in three separate places, trying to provide employment to approximately about 8,000 people. It already provides employment to 15,000 people at its existing plants. Well, Mr. Sabu, who leads the Kitex, has been seen in television channels across Kerala in the recent days after he made the announcement. And he said what many of us actually say, that anybody who invests in Kerala will either go mad or commit suicide. There have been a number of movies made in Kerala on the predicament of the small industrialist who come with starry-eyed dreams after having slugged out, say, in the Gulf for, say, 20-25 years and want to invest their lifetime savings into building a small factory or run a bus service. We saw that in the movies like Varavelpu, where Mohanlal buys a second-hand bus and the troubles and the problems that he faces, and he finally gives up. Same with another classic called Mithunam, where Mohanlal wanted to set up a factory, a biscuit factory, and the problems that he runs into. Kerala has never been investor friendly. Let's be very, very clear about that. The state has over the years been another version of West Bengal, where the communist rule for over 3 decades drew out the biggest names in business. Kerala is no different. The communist or the Congress, who has ruled here, have ensured that everyone who sets up a factory here thinks twice later. There are no big names in Kerala. There used to be some big names, but all of them are shut down. One of the earliest I remember was BPL, which had a factory in Palakkad. I'm not sure they still have it there. There are only a few public sector undertakings that you see here, refineries, right? Like the Cochin refinery. Then you have the FACT, which makes fertilizers. Then the Titanium, which is a state government company. But apart from this public sector undertakings, you don't see a big car manufacturer or a pharma company, or for that matter, any other big manufacturing unit. The area of Kanjikode near Palakkad is supposed to be the hub of Kerala's industrial revolution. But that revolution never happened. There was supposed to be a coach factory that was supposed to come up there, to be set up by the Indian Railways, who gave it up after running into a lot of issues. Kerala's successive governments have over the years encouraged trade unionism to an extent that any sensible industrialist who wants to plonk his money in Kerala would go mad, as Mr. Sabu said, or commit suicide. From the Nokku Kuli, which means that somebody sitting outside watching you unload your own stuff will have to be paid for. The headload workers, a system that exists in Kerala for many generations now, is another fact where you cannot unload anything that you bring into your own house itself. You can unload it yourself, but you cannot use a laborer from outside to unload. Only these headload workers can do it. There are many such examples in Kerala. Today, Kerala is actually run by the Bengalis, Assamese, and people from the north of India. For them, Kerala is Dubai, because they make double the salary of what they would make in their own state. But that is another side of the story. Despite Kerala having the largest unemployment, as was recently indicated, Kerala still has a lot of opportunities, especially tourism, which is its mainstay. But here again, the state has lost out, not just because of the COVID, but because the infrastructure in the state is pathetic. There are no major highways to be had. A proposed highway from Kasaragod to Trivandrum never took place because land is in short supply in Kerala. The population density is one of the highest in the state. But let's go back to and understand what Kitex is going through and what Mr. Sabu is saying these days. He had 11 inspections by different organizations ranging from the pollution board to the labor department, questioning employees, trying to find out something that they could pin him down on. Well, there's a reason behind it. A few years ago, Sabu floated a political party, a not-for-profit political party for the first time in India called 2020. And they had done exceedingly well in the Kirakambalam Panchayat, where they won the majority seats and even formed their own system of governance, including supermarkets which were selling products at half the rate. Politicians could not stand it because he was cutting into a traditional vote bank which was theirs, and he was creating a new system of political parties which could be dangerous for them. So they went after Sabu and made his life miserable to an extent that he says he's considering shifting even his existing factory to a place outside Kerala. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we saw in West Bengal. Today, West Bengal is a graveyard for industries. And if this continues in Kerala, mark my words, it will be no different. Kerala also will turn out to be a graveyard for industries. And I did not say this. It was Sabu of Kitex who said this. There are many other industrialists in Kerala who would watch for it. Kochos of Chitlapalli of V-Guard would give you a lot of lessons on the trails and travels he went through. Ladies and gentlemen, in every state there are issues, definitely. But this has been a state which is most literate in India. Yet the tragedy is that politicians in the state have not kept up to that mark. There are millions of youngsters in Kerala who are looking for jobs who work outside Kerala. They would be more than happy to work in their own state. But where are the jobs? The only jobs in Kerala are in the government sector or teaching as a profession or banks. Any other person working in a private sector is not really looked upon with respect. And unlike other industries in other states, where there are employments in thousands, Kerala, as I said before, doesn't even have one single big factory. That's a tragedy. We need more private sector investment in Kerala, more and more youngsters to get jobs. But that will happen only and only if the governments in Kerala, the successive governments in Kerala, the political parties in Kerala drop their attitude of trying to disrupt everything. Not everybody who starts a factory is a bourgeois. Not everybody is here is a criminal. But if the government starts treating industrialists like criminals, then the day is not far off when they just step across the border into Tamil Nadu, or for that matter into Karnataka, and are treated with respect that they deserve. It's time for the political parties in Kerala to think hard. Thank you. Jai Hind.